The night road in Europe is a universe of its own. When the sun dips below the horizon, the Autobahn transforms, the frantic buzz of passenger cars fades, and the highway turns into an endless river of marker lights. You sit high in the cab, squeezed between the monotonous hum of a 13-liter diesel and the hiss of the air brakes. Ahead lies only a cone of light from the headlamps, snatching signs out of the dark and the rhythmic thud of tires on bridge joints. But the real story doesn't begin in motion, it starts the moment you pull the parking brake. Many think our job is pure romance, but seasoned drivers know the most tense moment is a night at the parking lot. Trucks are supermarkets on wheels. We carry everything, from shipments of the latest iPhones and elite whiskey to industrial robots. To criminals, we are a big, slow, and often defenseless target. Thieves act professionally. While you sleep, they perform a probe, a careful vertical slit in the curtain to see if the cargo's worth the risk. If there's electronics inside, they bring out the heavy methods. This is why an experienced driver turns the cab into a closed system. Belt fixation. The seatbelt is looped through the door handle and buckled. This creates a dead stopper. Mechanical blockers, night lock, steel brackets that connect the door handles together. They can't be cut like a nylon belt. Gas detectors, devices that react to ether or propane. This is protection against sleeping gas, which thieves pump through the seals so the driver won't wake up while they strip the cab. I've always been careful, but that night in France, on the approach to Lyon, taught me more than any briefing ever could. Rain hammered the windshield. The wipers could barely keep up. Around 2 a.m., I pulled into a small air site off the highway. The street lights barely pierced the fog. I reverse parked in a herringbone pattern between two reefers, whose hum usually helps me sleep. The usual ritual followed, the click of the locks, belts through the handles, heavy curtains drawn shut. I was already dreaming when I heard it. Click, metal on metal. I snapped awake instantly. The silence in the cab became deafening. A few seconds later, another click. Someone was professionally picking the lock cylinder, then a sharp crunch. The lock gave way. The gap between the door and the pillar began to widen. A centimeter, two, and suddenly a dull thud. The belt snapped taut like a guitar string. Cursing came from outside. I slammed the light button, flooding the interior with a bright glare, and hit the horn. The roar of the air horn shattered the night silence. A hooded shadow vanished into the darkness instantly. As the shadow disappeared and my heart was still pounding in my throat, I realized just turning on the light wasn't enough. In lots like these, thieves rarely work alone. It's usually a group with 2 or 3 cars. If they couldn't open me, they just moved to the next truck, where a driver might be sleeping without a belt. I grabbed their radio handset. Channel 15, the universal channel for drivers, hissed with static, but a second later, I cut through the noise. "Attention, colleagues, attention at the parking lot near Lyon." My voice sounded sharp and raspy. "They just hit my cab. The lock is blown, the belt saved me, they're pros, heading toward the exit. Dark passenger car, looks like an Opel or an Audi, no lights. Check your mirrors." The radio exploded with voices instantly. This is what we call road radio, the fastest alert system in the world. "Copy that, brother," a loud bass with a Polish accent replied. "I'm parked at the edge. I'll flip on the light bar now. Let's see where these rats are running." For heaven's sake, another voice broke through the interference. "I just saw someone lurking by my reefer. Thought it was a colleague bleeding air. Thanks for the info. I'm putting my boots on now." Within seconds, the parking lot turned into an illuminated fortress. Someone turned on powerful roof-mounted floodlights that sliced through the fog like lasers. Others began shining heavy flashlights between the trailers. Realizing the quiet hunt was over and the lot was awake, the thieves floored it. Their car screeched past the exit, nearly clipping the guardrail. "They hit the Autobahn toward Spain," the radio rasped. "Anyone on the road, boys, watch out for a dark car with no taillights." While we waited for the police, I stepped out of the cab. 2 other drivers were already standing nearby, one Lithuanian, the other Czech. We stood in the night chill, smoking and discussing what happened. Our vocabulary isn't exactly literary in moments like these. "The jackals are loose again," the Lithuanian spat, inspecting my door. "They slash curtains here every other night. Good thing you weren't parked on the Germans in Germany. They're going wild there lately." He meant that in Germany, thieves have become brazen, not even hiding. We exchanged tips, locking in or door to door. When 2 trucks park their trailer rears flush against each other, this makes it impossible to open the doors and unload goods. Propping the bar, using special steel clamps on the door, locking mechanisms. Sleep watch. When drivers on the radio agree on a rotation, one sleeps lightly, the other keeps an eye on the row. The gendarmes arrive quickly. 2 young guys in reflective vests expertly photographed my lock. One pulled a small device resembling a tester from his pocket and swept it near my vent grill. "Clean," he He nodded briefly to his partner. They didn't have time to pump the gas. Then he turned to me. "Monsieur, your seatbelt is the best investment you've made this trip. If not for that, we'd be calling an ambulance for a stomach pump and notifying your company about a €1 million cargo loss." After they left, I couldn't calm down for a long time. I sat back in the cab, closed the curtain I had pulled aside, and once again tightened the belt. Now it didn't feel like just a part of the truck, but a real armored chain. In the morning, as the first rays of sun began to pierce the fog over the Autobahn, the parking lot returned to its usual life. Drivers brewed coffee in their cabs, auxiliary heaters hummed, and some were already heading out. We departed in different directions, some toward Marseille, some to Madrid, others to Warsaw. But every one of us knew, tomorrow night it will happen again. There will be a dark parking lot, the quiet whisper of the radio, and that brief but vital hand movement, the click of the belt through the door handle. Because sometimes on the road, where it's you against all odds, your safety hangs on one simple detail, and on a voice on the radio saying, "Copy that, brother, I'm on standby." Lessons and tips for the road. That night in France changed my attitude toward safety forever. I used to think it won't happen to me, but the road removes rose-colored glasses quickly. Now, when young drivers or colleagues ask me during a smoke break, I always say one thing: in our line of work, there are no extra safety measures. 1. The golden rule, belt plus lock. Never rely on the factory central locking. Pros open it in seconds without noise. Tip, always fix the doors with a seatbelt or install internal steel night locks. It creates a mechanical barrier that can't be bypassed without making noise that will wake you. 2. Choose your parking wisely. It's better to drive an extra 20 kilometers and burn a bit more fuel than to stop in a hole with no lights or people. Tip, prioritize large lit parking areas, Autohof in Germany, or major services with CCTV. Avoid small pockets in wooded areas, especially on risk routes, A9 in France, Belgian border zones. 3. Technology versus chemistry. Sleeping gas is not a myth, it is a reality. You can be the strongest person in the world, but you can't fight chemistry. Tip, install a soporific gas detector. It costs much less than your phone, documents, or cargo, but it could save your life. 4. Sop. Watch how you park your trailer is your responsibility. If you're hauling expensive goods, don't make the thief's job easier. Tip, try to park door to door with a colleague or back your rear doors tight against a fence or guardrail. Use heavy external locks on the bars. 5. The radio is your main weapon. Don't turn the radio off completely at night. Leave it on a low volume on channel 15. Tip, if you hear a suspicious rustle or see a neighbor being cleaned out, don't jump out of the cab with a tire iron. It can be dangerous. Instead, hit the horn, turn on the lights, and scream into the radio. Collective noise is a thief's #1 enemy. 6. Trust your intuition. If you pull into a lot and feel like something is off, suspicious cars circling or strange people, don't overthink it. Start the engine and move on. It's better to pay a fine for a driving hours violation than to become a headline in the crime news. The road is our home, and you have to protect your home. Stay vigilant, don't be lazy about checking your locks, and always help your colleagues. Today you help someone with a flashlight, and tomorrow someone else will save your haul. Take care, clear roads and quiet nights.